Literally down the last flight of steps, and when she landed, her nails were just like littered across the stairs like a fucking graveyard. If you were wondering, this is what a decaying drag queen breast looks like. And this is how I stay skinny. I have to untuck now, so you're going to have to... This is what happens when it all comes off. I'm a browless, fat, short, insecure, middle-aged thing. I made you short. Is that yours? My name is Jody Angio, also known as Pissy Miles, Philadelphia's next drag superstar.
My name is Brian Neal, and my drag persona is Ariel Versace, your favorite spray-tanned Barbie.
My name's Ian Morrison. My alter ego persona is Brittany Lynn.
And I have been doing drag for about a year and a half.
I have been doing drag for about a year now, marking on Halloween, because that's kind of how it all started. It escalated very quickly for me, which I'm very appreciative of, but it was a huge growing experience for only just being a year.
And I've been doing Brittany Lynn since 1996 here in Philly and around the country.
Drag to me is entertainment. It's about kind of, it's so hard to define because it means something a little bit different to everyone. To some people it's about impersonation, to some people it's about jokes. For me, it's definitely about camp. It's about satire. It's about making people laugh. You know, I do a lot of stand-up and jokes and funny mixes and parodies of songs. So for me, it's just sort of like a medium for reaching people. What is sex like after 60? I don't know what you're implying, but I wouldn't know. I assume it's very dry.
Drag to me is just an extension of yourself. Actually, it's funny, one of my closest friends who does drag, Pissy, she said in her drag interview something I really appreciated. She said,
drag to me is taking the thing that makes you the most you and blowing it up to about 1,000% so that it's offensive and beautiful.
So drag is almost like, a lot of it's not competition, but it's almost like you want to keep working harder and harder at it. And it's also kind of like putting yourself, you can step into somebody else's shoes for a little bit, which is kind of fun because if you're ever feeling insufficient with yourself, you can feel gratified that you feel like somebody.
Drag to me is the costume or persona that you need to put on in order to perform in the media or the medium that you wish to perform in. I mean, that's what it is for me anyway. It's the character that I had to put on in order to work here in town.
My first time in drag is like the night that everyone does drag for the first time was Halloween. And I did this kind of skeleton witch drag thing with like a Party City wig and didn't shave my arms, and it was really terrible. And nothing's changed. It's sort of funny because I never really had planned on doing drag. I went to school for musical theater and I was an actor. I was I was working in New York City. I had an agent and I was doing my thing in New York. And my boyfriend David and I were huge fans of drag. And I'd always been a huge fan of drag, but I never really saw it as like a career. I never saw it as something that could be done as a profession. And I was really depressed because I wasn't getting booked. I wasn't working as an actor. So I decided to write a one-man show, and it was called That's Not Right, A Mistaken Cabaret. And the tagline was, I'm going to sing all the songs that I never get to sing because of this pesky, exceptionally large penis. So it was me singing all the girl songs that I never get to sing because I can't because I'm a man. And so it was the first time I finally felt like myself again in a really, really long time, like probably about 5 or 6 years, because I hadn't done comedy or, you know, gotten in front of a group of people or an audience or whatever and just done what I like to do, which is to sing the songs that I like to do, to make people laugh, to tell jokes and do stand-up. And so I was originally going to kind of go more in the vein of cabaret, but if there's one thing that makes less money than drag queens, it's probably cabaret performers. So I remember I was kind of tentatively planning my second cabaret, and my boyfriend said to me, he was like, you know, I think you'd be a really good drag queen. And I was like, I don't know, I've never done it. It kind of seems like it would be, you know, whatever, it would be stupid. And he was like, I think you should try it. And finally, I got up the courage, and I did drag for the real first time, which was in May of that year, in May of 2013.
I had trouble with Joe as Pissy the first couple of times. Not in a bad way, not that I was ever turned off or ever thought that I was gonna run in the other direction, but I was never any kind of attracted to him as a woman or as a drag queen. So to me, it was like he could have been dressed up as Mickey Mouse at Disney World. It was just this other character, but he spoke like the guy that I loved. And I remember that first night that he went into a drag competition, he like would rub my back, but he had nails on, and it was weird. It was weird because it felt like him, but it didn't look like him, and I'm a very visual person. I remember being a little bit sad at the time, like in that moment, that like, oh, my boyfriend is not here. It's this other person. But I kind of feel like I'm dating two people. I'm dating Joe, who I love, and kind of dating Pissy, who I kind of love, not as much as I love Joe, but as a designer, as an illustrator, as a writer, Pissy is such a creative extension of Joe, and that's really inspiring to me. You know, we're always doing photo shoots, and I'm drawing all kinds of pictures, t-shirt ideas, whatever, and his creativity inspires my creativity, so I kind of get the best of both worlds in that way.
I had a friend who was producing Missy Pyle's show in New York City at Joe's Pub, and so her name was kind of like in the back of my head. He would be like, Missy Pyle this, Missy Pyle that. And so Christmas morning, my boyfriend David and I were having like a little bit of a tiff, and he kind of shot down all of my drag names before that, like Lucille Balls and who were the other, Robin Banks. And so he had shot down all of those, and so in the middle of this little like argument that we were having in the car, he was like, oh, do you want to talk about your drag name too? And I was like, you know what, you're turning me into Pissy Miles in a minute. And we both kind of stopped and realized that that actually was the perfect name for me. So we are currently in the car on the way to Philadelphia from where I live in New Jersey, which is just a little bit outside Manhattan. We are on our way to Philadelphia for Philly Drag Wars tonight, which is basically like RuPaul's Drag Race on stage. And it's hosted by Mimi I'm First, who is on Drag Race. And I am the most recent winner. I won Cycle 4. So Mimi is out of town at the moment. She's doing Drag Race at Sea, or I think that's what it's called. It's basically like a drag cruise with all the RuPaul's Drag Race girls, and she's out there doing that. And so while she was gone, she asked me to fill in for her and host. So I have the distinction of being the first previous Drag Wars contestant to host the show, which is actually really cool.
So tell me, how do you feel about yourself without the makeup on then?
I mean, I love myself. Who wouldn't want to be me? I think I'm wonderful. I have a great life, and I love all of the opportunities and things that I have. You know, I'm really lucky, and I know that we've talked about this a little before. Just having David, because so many drag queens don't have steady relationships, because drag is it's still very, you know, taboo and weird to a lot of people. So a lot of people won't date drag queens, and I kind of come from this unique position where David was the one who told me I should do drag. He was the one who encouraged me to do it in the first place. And so you know, it's nice to know that I have a really strong support system and someone that I love as much as David. But my life is very normal. It's very, you know, if you don't count the fact that I shave my eyebrows and I get a few weird looks now and then, everything is it's kind of great. It's wonderful. I like being me. No one can ever treat me the way that does.
I feel like you'll actually get.
Stop it!
Okay, we're leaving.
Look at this bearded.
That's like a TRL moment. I have facial hair and I'm not afraid to use it.
Good
I don't know
night.
what that means.
Well, I knew that I wanted to be the Little Mermaid for Halloween, and that's kind of part of where my name stemmed from. And then I wanted to get super creative with it, and I started doing a couple different costumes. I was Ariel, I was Britney Spears, I was Harley Quinn, and then I was like a dead Little Mermaid, and I had so much fun doing it that I kind of wanted to continue doing it, because it started with Cleo's show Tip a Bitch, and I did it, and then from then on it was history, and I was kind of like hooked. And I feel like that's kind of how it starts for a lot of people. They do it just for fun, and then they realize it's a lot of fun. And I come from a theater background, so I kind of missed performing, because I went to Rowan for 2 years for theater, and then I stopped and went to cosmetology school, so it was kind of like a fun gateway to put my makeup artistry skills and performance together to just have fun. I can see now.
All right, Brian, whose makeup are you doing right now?
I'm doing my lovely drag daughter Anastasia's makeup right now for Philly Drag Wars Grayscale Week.
Cycle 5.
Cycle 5. The one that occurred immediately after mine.
1 week in between.
Literally.
Literally.
And there's my cat. He's already black.
He's already black.
So how did you guys meet?
You go ahead. You can take it away.
I take it away? Isn't this about you?
You can take
Well, since I've been asked, I was a terrible drag queen who thought I was fish. And there was this event where Wendy Ho was showing up, and she was in the show beforehand. I think it was after your show that you came up to me, or was it after the entire show?
After my show.
Okay, it was after her show, which was Tip a Bitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
She came up to me, and she was actually really nice. And I was like, oh, okay. Ariel Versace isn't a total cunt, which... take it or leave it. And so we took this really funny picture. She had a hot dog. It was great. I'll never forget it. And then afterwards, I hit her up on Facebook, and I was like, hey, like, you're an amazing drag queen. Could you give me some pointers, this, and that? And right from the start, she took me under her wing, and she was just like, okay, this is how you do this is how you do that. And now I'm the drag queen that I am. Perfect.
Perfect. Now he goes to Starbucks with a wig and one eyebrow.
Singular eyebrow.
Success. So my parents saw my Halloween costumes, and actually I think I remember them saying something like, oh, you better not be like doing this all the time because this is different. Like they didn't care that I was gay. They were fully supportive of it. But I think that they didn't want me to be doing it all the time because they didn't want me to be, I don't know, made fun of, because they already know in the gay community we're already kind of put under pressure all the time, and we're kind of already not outcast, but like we already have it hard. So I think that they didn't want me to have to go through it even more if I'm like, oh, I'm going to do drag all the time. But then I think that they saw how hard I worked on it, and that, like I said, it was an extension of my performance, that they truly appreciated it as an art form that I was doing rather than me trying to be a girl, which is not what it is about. I mean, a lot of people, some people do start as drag and then they transition, and that's not something I want to do. But I think that, not that they were worried about that, but that would be something that they would have to worry about even more, like taking care of me, because they're very protective of me. I'm an only child. They don't want to see me being put under like the flame of being attacked or ridiculed.
I didn't realize how entertaining it is.
Yeah.
For me, anyway, because I just thought, at first I thought it was guys wanting to be females and that this is the only way we can do it. But, you know, straight up, I'm just going to tell you, I've asked them 100 times and just don't. Brian, do you still want your stuff down below? Or, and he says to me, no, Dad, I like my stuff down below. So, you know, I mean, that's probably the best father and son conversation we've ever had. And,
but I think a lot of people think that.
Yeah,
think
well,
that
naturally,
it's just...
You just think these are guys
right.
that, you know, don't want to go further with if a sex change would be how they want to. But they don't. They like being guys, but they like doing
right.
the drag thing, of which I think, like I said, I think it's cool.
Like, this is Rob. He has red hair.
He's trans.
I'm trans, Janelle Galliano. Hello.
Oh
House of Fantasy, New York City. But it's okay, I'll lie and be. No, I'm kidding, I won't.
What this looks like on. What is that? Oh. Oh, see? Don't. I told you. I said.
You're gonna see the phone.
No, you can't now. But you could have before if you didn't put all this other lights.
I'm gonna fucking live.
I'm begging you to drop down.
Where's your... Oh, he has
Wait, Volky, we're gonna teach you how to do a dip.
Oh no.
I'm in a corset.
Alright, I'll show you how to do it slow. Ready? Go like this. You're in a dress too, so we'll do it very
The body right?
Yes.
No bra.
My corset is so strong.
Look, you go like this. You get down on one knee first. Huh, 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 huh.
1, 2, ah!
Oh, I could do that one too. She likes it.
Welcome to my face.
Welcome to my face.
It's sweating off.
They're just so nice, and they're so sweet, and they're just...
Very respectful.
Very, very. They were very respectful of our house, and, you know, when I go to the shows, they all come up and hug and kiss me, and they're just... I love every single one of them. They're great.
I definitely think there should be some form of support from parents, because you know that you always have something to fall back on, that you know that they're there for you if like something doesn't work out. Like I was saying, when I was in the bottom 3, like they were there to support me. And it's even hard because some people's parents don't even accept that they're gay. And if they got like kicked out or anything like that, I just think it's very important to always have that support system from your family, no matter what you're doing, because if you choose to do drag for a living, like, I mean, I do makeup as my primary job, like freelance makeup. I work at Sephora as well. But I mean, if your child is like, oh, I want to be a doctor, and you're fully supportive of that, if they can make a career out of doing drag, like how Mimi does, I mean, I think you should be fully supportive of that too, because they're making money, they're dedicating their time and energy to something that they enjoy. So I definitely think that no matter what, you should support what your child wants to do, which isn't always the case, but life's not perfect.
Just accept that it's your child. Don't think about that. It's your child.
Yeah, you can't turn off the love.
Easy access. And Brittany Lynn is here! I knew she was here because she walked in and security went, what? Mimi on First is swimming here from Venice in a fit of rage.
I came to town as a gay comic when I was like 19 to 20, and none of the gay bars really had anything open for gay comics. There's no gay comic night, anything like that. And at the time, I was on doing a tour of the live Brady Bunch show as Alice, the housekeeper. And the last night of the tour, we all got in costume. We went to 12th Air Command to catch the drag show there. And I made friends with the hostess, and I asked her to give me a job as a gay comic. And they wouldn't have me as a gay comic, but they said if I came in drag, then, they would let me, perform and do stuff there. And I didn't really want to do drag. I wanted to be a gay comic. But that was the medium that I had to work through, and now it's been 18 years. When I started drag at Shampoo and all this in 1996, and we were getting $300 to $600 a performance. And if y'all don't believe me, I got my ledgers right here. It was a different time. Like, we were megastars that, like, 3 gigs a night, hop, club, that's $1,000 in your pocket. I didn't have to have a job for a long time, and I was blessed like that to do that. A lot of these girls now, they just feel like they can do that economically, and they can just work a couple shows a week. And when a lot of these promoters are paying $25 a gig, you're spending that on makeup. That's why a lot of these girls can't buy new lashes. But I'm just saying, like, it's different economics. I think there's a competitiveness that comes from being hungry. I work a real job. I manage Taboo. I work from home, like stay-at-home mom. I bartend. I give up my Saturday night, but I'll give that up for that $400 or $500 shift. I work Friday days at U-Bar. I'll give that up for the money that I make during the day when these girls are sleeping. You know what I mean? But that money that I make, I don't have to take a $25 gig that these girls are doing and then have to worry about paying my bills, doing drag, using that $25 for that. I have a real job. I don't need one. I could just do this, but it's different for me economically. People back then, as a drag queen or an entertainer, I wanted to show that I had value. I'm like the person that's bringing people to your club, keeping them there through entertainment. They're buying drinks. That drinks fuels your business. The taxes you pay on your business fuel the community within Philadelphia. So when I came to 12th Air, they're like, we'll give you some drink tickets. I said, okay, and give me these drink tickets, thank you. And now what do you pay me? You know what I mean? Where's my dressing room? Are these girls getting paid? They're working for me. Once the gigs started rolling in, they would offer me money. And then, they're like, oh, have a contest. I said, no, these girls don't need that kind of, they don't need to be boxed in by competing against each other. I said, so what I did was I started Drag Mafia. And at first it was kind of like a way to protect ourselves. I wanted to make sure everybody got paid. There's a dressing room, drinks. If we're here to entertain you and keep your crowd there, you're going to take care of us first. I did a couple shows for the Mummers back in the day, and then in 2011, I got a phone call from Councilman Jim Kenney. He wanted to meet me at Chatterblast with Matthew Ray, Mark Siegel, my old boss from PGN, all these important people. And they asked if I would be willing to put together the first all-drag queen brigade to perform at the convention center New Year's Day, and that we would march in the Mummers Day Parade.
I'm here now to the next group coming up on stage. We marched together in the very beginning. We led the Mummers Day Parade, which is freaking amazing, right? So I want to announce that this year, Brittany Lane and the Drag Mafia are leading the Mummers Day New Year's Day Parade again this year. Very good. And please introduce our next group of ladies.
We're men that dress up like women in order to perform and have fun. Back then, we were all comedy queens. You know what I mean? There's a difference between a comedy queen and a fish queen. And a fish queen, wants to look like a girl. But what happens when you take that off? If you're not, someone that's transitioning or somebody who wants to be a girl, once we take this all off, we're all men.
The future of drag in Philadelphia is me. I'm kidding. It is, but I'm kidding. You know, the future of drag in Philly, it's sort of a blossoming scene. And so it's still finding its footing. I think up until recently, there's been sort of this very concentric idea of what drag is and this very like tight-knit circle of what drag was.
There's a big difference in Philly queens to everywhere else because I feel like the New York scene is when you get all that like fierce fishiness. And I feel like the Philly scene is more about, not that like avant-garde theatrical, but almost.
Everyone is super supportive. We've gained a ton of really awesome friends from him being part of the Philly drag scene, and especially coming from New Jersey.
I think the ticket right now is personality, and I think it's the ticket to any community is really, you know, saying this is who I am, this is what I do, and I'm going to give you a damn good show. And I think that's what the future of Philly drag is going to be.
The gay Philly drag scene really just needs to come together for production and support rather than a hair flip.
You know, our local government here, they raised a flag over City Hall. You know, they paid for the street signs in the neighborhood with the pride flag on it. We're very lucky to live in Philadelphia and to have the support that the city gives to us, because it could be a lot worse.
I already did this once. We're gonna have a little lesson since Miss Frizzle was already here to show you how we teach. Everyone do this. Everyone do it. Raise it high. Raise it real high. Yes. When you like it, you wave that finger, honey darling. So let me